Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Karen Kozia Phillips. C News is live at noon. Topping the news at this time, a pregnant woman is dead and her husband is in critical condition at hospital after they were chopped by a group of men. Reports say at around 10 o'clock last night, the couple who lived at a shack near Tarico Bay were attacked by a group of men. The woman died. Her husband remains in critical condition at hospital. C News was told the Maracas Bay police staged a roadblock which caused the suspects to abandon their vehicle. However, 2 of the suspects were caught following a chase. The other 2 were later arrested. The female victim has been identified as 24-year-old Kimberly Lewis. The male victim is yet to be identified. Further news now, property owners are free to submit valuation return forms and any supporting documents they consider relevant to any office of the Valuations Division. This in a statement from the Ministry of Finance. But according to a court ruling last Friday, property owners are not obligated to submit their property tax valuation return forms to the ministry. On Monday, the state appealed a decision by Justice Frank Sipasad to grant an injunction against the submission of the valuation forms. That was adjourned to June 6th. The ministry issued their statement overnight. However, according to reports reaching C News, valuation offices have suspended the process. At San Fernando, there was a sign saying property tax on hold until further notice, and in Port of Spain, the property tax exercise has been suspended until further notice. While former High Court Judge Herbert Volney has sought to clear the air on the confusion, he says government can issue whatever statement it wants. He said the latest statement shows the government is confident that it will win the appeal against the opposition.
The government's advice is in order. It just means that the government is going to have to just, if it succeeds, if the appeal succeeds again, they're going to have to give people a little more time, rather than find yourself in the rush. And even if it means that the matter goes back to Parliament, one way or the other, I suspect that the whole issue of regularizing the tax, whether returning it to what it had been previously before the period of amnesty, so to speak. Eventually, the government is intent on implementing some sort of government property tax.
Mr. Volney says after the tax is implemented, if a citizen wants, he or she can take legal action against the state if the tax is implemented as is. He explained how.
My reason being that the methodology is faulty, and eventually somebody, whether it be me or some other citizen, will take the government to court in the constitutional law and say that the methodology creates a situation where the same property, 2 different valuations will result in 2 different sums of money being paid, and that is discriminatory under the Constitution.
Well, there was a buzz of activity this morning at the Valuation Division of the Ministry of Finance, where citizens came to both drop off and collect their valuation forms for the property tax. Our C News team of cameraman Shaka Telesford and reporter Janine Brown visited the valuation office, where they spoke with some citizens about their feelings on the latest developments surrounding the tax.
Well, I do not know the facts of the matter. I don't know what caused it, why you called to stop it. I don't know the facts of the matter, so I can't say it. But this has been an ongoing process. And from the time I knew myself, properties have been paying taxes.
But I still doing my part as a citizen, and let the government them do their part. Because when the time comes, I don't want to be rushing and think whoever it is win the court matter.
Before I was born, tax is supposed to pay. And the next thing, if you don't pay revenue, how you expect the country to work?
Further news now, the officials from the Port Authority should know the problems with the inter-island ferries, and they should fix them within 2 days. Minority Leader Watson Duke lashed out at the body this morning after a delay in the sailing to Tobago on Monday afternoon.
We are recommending that they buy new parts for those boats, the TNT Express, the TNT Spirit, and have those boats working professionally. There's nothing wrong with those boats that you can fix in 1 day or 2 days, mechanically speaking about. Let's forget the aesthetics now. We say mechanically, there's nothing wrong with those boats you can fix, because those boats have been going down for the last 2 months. Certainly by now, they will have a fair idea as to what the problem is.
About 200 passengers were left stranded yesterday as the TT Express had to turn back from its way to Tobago as it experienced mechanical problems. The vessels eventually left just before 9 p.m. and arrived in Tobago after midnight. Now, according to Mr. Duke, several people fell ill because one of the water taxis, which is now being used, is not made for such a journey.
On the water taxi, a lot of persons fell ill because that's a small boat that is not suited for those high or rough seas between Trinidad and Tobago. Maybe in a sheltered area from Port of Spain to San Fernando might be fine. But when we're talking about Tobago, the open seas, it's definitely a different type of water together.
The water taxi is normally used to transport people from Port of Spain to San Fernando. This is the CNews Live report at noon. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website at ctvtt.com, or you can check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at CNews Live. Chairman of the Board of the Port Authority, Alison Lewis, says the use of the water taxi is a short-term measure to deal with the problem.
The water taxi was put into service to take people across, and when the boat came back into service, the balance of the people and cars and everything went across. This morning the water taxi came across over 200 passengers, and the express was free to sail. I can't give you a time with respect to the sailors, but I should say that we are not functioning because of the fact that the spirit is also down.
Ms. Lewis said if needs be, the water taxi will be used to transport passengers to and from Tobago later today. She was, however, unwilling to go into detail about the authorities' plan to address the problem. However, she did say that certain options have been put on the table and are being considered by the Port Authority and the Ministry of Works and Transport. And PSA President Watson Duke is also calling for measures to be put in place to assist people when sailings are delayed, as it may be unsafe for them.
Unsatisfactory at that hour of night. Persons obviously were feeling a sense of fear because at that hour of night there is no transportation. You have to hire a taxi, and God alone knows what type of taxi you may have on the stand. Whether it's an H car or a P car, it is not enough, and the Port Authority has to do more than that to actually be acceptable to the people of Tobago. Whenever you run late like that, you must provide transportation linked with the PTSC to ensure persons are transported safely to their home without any loss of convenience.
Well, police officers will be cracking down on bar owners who do not obey the rules. This from Deputy Commissioner of Police Deodath Dulalchan as he addressed concerns from residents of the Woodbrook area on Monday evening.
What we need to do is really try to identify those trouble bars and open an incident file for each of those bars, because even if an SDO is transferred, all the reports pertaining to those individual bars, we will now log them. So it will make life easy for us when the time comes for us to object to the renewal of the license, or if not, ask for restrictions.
Meanwhile, the issue of illegal parking and parking in front of people's gates was addressed. And while the racking service in the Woodbrook area has been operational, there was the assurance that more will be done.
I was informed by the Port of Spain Corporation Officer, Senior Superintendent Charles, that in fact in the Woodbrook area, the corporation operates a wrecking or removal service. From Monday to Thursday is daylight, and in fact in the night time, on Friday and Saturday, he said that on an average, they remove about 75 vehicles.
The Ministry of Social Development is moving ahead with plans to have all people who get old age pension access it through direct payment. Now this means the money will be sent directly to the bank and not via check. As it stands, only about 50% of pensioners have this service.
We have had so far about 50% of our pensioners. Currently we have about 94,000 pensioners. So 50%, so we are looking forward to getting the other 50% on now. And we are also going to do the public assistance recipients and disability recipients also.
And pensioners are being urged to submit their forms with the required information.
The forms will be sent via mail from the 1st of June. But persons who are in receipt of a check, the forms will, the letters will come via mail at the same time that they are receiving their checks. So we are encouraging them to fill out the forms and drop them at the required TT card, TT post, designated TT post outlets or any of the social welfare offices.
Weather. Intermittently cloudy periods with light to moderate showers in varying localities will interrupt sunny and breezy conditions. There is a chance of the heavy shower occurring during afternoon. The night will be mostly clear except for 1 or 2 showery interruptions. WASA's 844-20 or 800-4426 telephone lines to its customer call center are currently out of service. In a statement, the company said TSTT is presently working on resolving the problem and expects to have the lines returned to service by 1 p.m. today. The Opposition United National Congress says the number of committees government has enacted since taking office shows its incompetence and inability to deliver timely development for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and they should be known as the committee government. This follows the appointment of an interministerial committee for the approval and facilitation of investments in the non-energy sector. The party's chairman, Dr. David Lee, said it is quite disturbing that after 20 months in office and the vulnerable energy markets, the Minister of Trade has now seen the importance of foreign direct investment and diversification. Claiming that over 21,000 jobs were lost since September, Dr. Lee said yet again citizens can expect no fruitful deliberation or policy to improve Trinidad and Tobago's well-being from this initiative based on the dismal record of the government. Parents need to find a balance with work and parenting, and if they do this, it can decrease the number of violent brawls at the nation's schools. According to Director at the Center for Human Development, Hanif Benjamin, young people, especially girls, are acting out because they are not given the care they need.
You are not willing to take that time or sacrifice that time, but then you punish the things that probably the young person don't know how to manage because there were no guidance. I tell parents all the time, I am not asking parents to rearrange their work schedule, but what I am saying is within the moments that you have with your children, you can make the best of it.
He said parents tend to focus too much on shelter, food and clothing, and while that is important, they forget other forms of caring.
We could live in a shack, but if you give me love, care, and guidance, I will grow up to be a different person. You see? So the idea here is not to use the busyness of life to take away from parenting. And I'm not saying that you cannot be a parent with the limited time you have. It's what you do with the time, how you structure the time with your children are going to be important.
The Ministry of Planning and Development and other government agencies are taking steps to treat with identified problems in order to arrest further degradation of our coastal and marine space. This after the 2016 Marine Environment Report said bathing beach water quality was found to be poor at several popular areas frequented by recreational users, tourists and the general public. An interministerial committee has been established to guide the implementation of this action plan and to monitor and report on progress in this regard. Among the objectives is the promotion and enhancement of pollution control and waste management activities. It will also look to improve watershed management, promote installation of appropriate sanitation or waste management systems in coastal communities, regulate and plan development, and boost the capacity of regulatory agencies. We have sport coming up next. We begin with news of football. The next round of World Cup qualification is upon us, with TNT meeting the USA in Colorado and then Costa Rica in San Jose. National head coach Dennis Lawrence will be departing with 17 locally based players today for a camp based in Denver, Colorado, to get his players acclimatized to the U.S. conditions and the altitude they will encounter both in the U.S. and in Costa Rica, which is even higher up than in Colorado. The team will be joined next week by the foreign-based players when the final playing numbers will be chosen.
These boys are going to be joining us in Denver from as soon as the 23rd. They're going to be there with the group, and as I said, the process is going to start. We've arranged 2 behind closed doors games, which is going to try and aid the and speed up the process of the acclimatization, and we're going to take it from there.
As part of the preparations, the national team will play 2 closed-door matches against Denver's MLS team, the Colorado Rapids. Lawrence made it clear he wants some good results in both World Cup matches to help improve their current standings on the 6-team table.
We're going to try and compete with them. We're going to go toe-to-toe, because I don't think we can afford to go and sit back and allow the USA to take full control of the game. Obviously, it's not going to be easy because why? Historically, it's not a generous place for us to go, but we need to try and start thinking differently now, and we need to start thinking, look, we can go there and we can accomplish things.
The evergreen Quan Brown is among 4 overseas-based stars, including a 29-man training squad called up by national hockey coach, preparing for the upcoming Pan Am Cup Series in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, in the United States. Brown, who was among the standout players at the recent FIH World League second-round event hosted here in Trinidad, will lead TNT into battle from June 4th through 13th. TNT is grouped with Mexico, Canada and Brazil in Group B, while Pool A consists of hosts the United States, Argentina, Chile and Venezuela. Coach Glenn Fido Francis is sticking with the nucleus of players who participated in that tournament, who performed well enough to catch his eye and who showed remarkable improvements during the build-up and actual tournament. Apart from Brown, the other overseas stars making the squad are Stefan Mute, Tariq Makano and Akim Toussaint, who will complement a talented squad comprising the likes of Darren Cowie, Michael Pear, Teague Marcano and Andre Rock, among others. To some NBA now, Golden State Warriors breezed into their 3rd NBA Finals in a row with a 129-115 win over San Antonio Spurs. Stephen Curry's 36 points and 29 from Kevin Durant helped the Oakland-based team complete a 4-0 clean sweep in their best-of-7 Western Conference Finals. They will now face defending champions Cleveland Cavaliers or Boston Celtics, with the Cavaliers leading the Eastern Conference Finals 2-1. The NBA Finals start on June 1st. Well, that's it for sport. That's how we end our CNews report at noon. I'm Karen Kozier-Phillip. Remember, for up-to-date and breaking news throughout the day, you can visit the CNews website at ctvtt.com. Do have a good afternoon.